Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name's Bridget, and I've only shared a couple videos, but the reason I started this channel was because I really wanted to share my story with you guys, and I haven't even really uploaded a video about my full story, so today is the day. Alrighty, so upon my initial diagnosis of Goodpasture syndrome, I had water in my lungs, I was end-stage renal failure, and I had neurovasculitis, which was water and swelling of the brain. I was also having seizures. So yeah, my first seizure was a grand mal seizure. I literally remember I was like, it was a normal day in the hospital, but the whole day I was very foggy. I remember like I was texting somebody, and the whole time I was texting, I was like, I know what I want to say, but I can't text it. And it was like one of the old Envy phones, and you had to like double press OK in order to unlock the phone. And I remember I could only press OK once, and I was like, why can't I click it twice? Like, what's going on? But I just thought it was funny. I was like, oh, like, haha, whatever. And then all of a sudden, I remember like my arm fly in the air and my leg fly in the air, and I just like locked eyes with my mom, and my life just flashed before my eyes. And this was probably the only time where I thought that I was gonna die. I was literally like, this is it. And I was like, Mom. And I just remember my eyes rolling in the back of my head and basically falling over. I did code blue, and I basically flatlined. So that was a very scary day for me and basically my whole family. Yeah, the reason I was having seizures was my blood pressure was so high because my neurovasculitis, I had my water in my brain. So I was on my hemodialysis, and hemodialysis, it was really hard to learn my body. I was so fatigued, and I first started out on chemotherapy, and I luckily only had to do that for a couple months, but chemotherapy on top of my hemodialysis, I literally would just sleep. I did not want to do anything else. And I have always had a problem with nausea and vomiting from beginning I got sick. It was throwing up every morning. Like, that was just how I started my morning when I was sick. I could not do anything to stop it. So on dialysis, I would just literally be throwing up for hours, and that caused a lot of problems because I couldn't hold any food down, and I had a really hard problem gaining weight. So my doctors had always pushed peritoneal dialysis on me, but I was very scared because you had to do that by yourself at your home, and my mom and I were very scared. We were like, this is a lot on our plate already. We don't know if we want to go and take this at home and have this in our own hands. But one of my best friend's moms at the time was a dialysis nurse, and she talked to me and she was like, Bridget, you are going to feel so much better. You're going to have so much more freedom. Just give it a try. So literally I went to dialysis the next day, and my doctor was like, are you sure you don't want to try the peritoneal dialysis? And I was like, no, I do. Let's do this. Let's set it up. Let's do it. So I think we scheduled the procedure for like a week later, and I got on it, and that was the best decision that I made. I was even able to go back to school after it. I was able to learn my body so well on peritoneal dialysis. You have a lot more freedom with the diet, so it really helped more with my fatigue. I was able to go swimming, and I was able to shower. You can't shower on hemodialysis, so you have to bathe because the catheter, if you get it, you're way more prone to infections basically because it's an open wound. But with peritoneal, I was able to swim, and I just felt so much more of my energy come back. So I was so happy. Thank you, Candace. Thank you, Brenda. So in 2013, I finally got my kidney transplant, and it was amazing. I finally felt like me again, and it was like perfect timing. It was 2 months before my senior year, and I was actually a whole year behind my class. I could not go back to school freshman year because I was sick, so I basically missed everything. So senior year, I took 12 classes to make sure I graduated on time. My counselor, my principal was like, just graduate a year later, just 2015, you'll be fine, you know, just it's not a problem. And I was like, that's not happening. I'm graduating with my class. So I did it, and I'm so proud of myself for it. And yeah, it's still something I'm honestly really happy with myself that I did. I wouldn't want to look back, and I don't know, I'm very happy that I graduated with my class. That was my main goal when I got sick, was nothing was gonna stop me. I was gonna make sure that I did what I was determined to do, and that was graduate. So I did. But things were going really well for a while after my transplant, and about a year after my transplant, I hit stage 1 rejection. I got a really bad UTI, and I was hospitalized for 2 weeks. They put me on heavy doses of steroids, and I was on IVIG. But because of all the treatments and everything, they weren't able to stop the rejection from going any further. So after that, I went home, they put me on a prophylactic, and after just about 6 months of the prophylactic, they were able to take me off of it, and I haven't really had any problems since. But at the beginning, I was very, very, very prone to infections. My body was just very sensitive for the first couple of years, actually. I'm about 6 years post kidney transplant. I just hit 6 years in June. But the first 3 years, I was even 3-4 years, it was very hard for me. It's still very hard getting to learn my body. I still have a really, really, really hard time with nausea and vomiting. That is something that literally on a daily basis, even this morning, I woke up with a migraine headache at 3:11 in the morning, and I was throwing up for 4 hours because I was in so much pain. I actually in January of 2019 this year, I was hospitalized because I was throwing up blood and I was pooping blood. So when I was admitted, they did a colonoscopy and an endoscopy to see what was going on, and they ended up seeing that I had ulcerative colitis. I had bleeding ulcers inside of me. So I was on tons of medication and lots of medication and treatments and everything to stop the bleeding. The pain was honestly the worst. It was excruciating. Basically, I'm bleeding out of my body and it hurts so bad. But I was able to get that under control, so I haven't had as many problems with it. So that's been nice to finally get a diagnosis of that, to finally get a little bit of something under control. And also my Goodpasture syndrome, there's really not much research behind it. And whenever I go to doctors, they obviously don't really know much about it. So whenever I go to them and explain my symptoms of, my lack of sleep or my constant body aches and my throwing up, it's kind of just, oh, well, that shouldn't happen. The kidney transplant should have fixed it, or the medication you're on right now should help it, or you're too young to have these problems. Your disease is in remission. That shouldn't be happening. So I wouldn't really be getting any answers for any of my problems. But like I said this morning, I wake up in pain sometimes where I'm literally throwing up for 5 to 6 hours because I'm in so much pain. And I either have to just sleep through it and deal with it, or I end up having to go to the emergency room and get pain medicine, and then I'm perfectly fine. So that's been happening ever since I got sick. I have not been able to get these body pains and migraines under control. And I finally did a blood panel a couple weeks ago, and it came back positive for rheumatoid arthritis. So I obviously I shouldn't be smiling, but I'm really happy I found a diagnosis, a problem of the cause, because I'm so sick of just getting like, this shouldn't be happening. Well, that's not supposed to happen, blah, 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 blah. Well, it makes sense because I have rheumatoid arthritis. So now that I finally have this diagnosis, I look forward to finally getting the proper medication and treatment that can help this pain, because I can tell you it is no fun being stuck with my head in a toilet for hours and dying in pain and having doctors tell you, oh, well, that just shouldn't be happening. Like, oh, it shouldn't. But honestly, I'm so happy I've been able to share so much of my story with you guys. I feel like I'm diagnosed with something new. Like every other month, my health is just a constant roller coaster. I get something under control and then my body's like, oh wait, no, here's something new. But I honestly just try to maintain positivity through all of it. That's all I can do, honestly. my thing is if I'm waking up in my bed and not in a hospital, I can't be happier. And even if I do wake up in a hospital, I'm waking up and I'm not on dialysis anymore. And there's so much for me to be happy about, that the little things I can't be too sad about. And I'm honestly just very happy to finally found a diagnosis to all of this. But I'm really happy to finally share my story with you guys and just everything that I've been through. I'm gonna share a second video with you guys because not only was I battling an autoimmune disease, but I was a high school student. So I'm going to share a video with you guys of what it was like being in high school and battling an autoimmune disease. I was bullied very, very horribly, and I kind of just want to get into the emotional side of the trauma and everything that I had to deal with besides the autoimmune disease. But I'm so happy I got to share everything with you guys. This was just a little bit about everything that I went through, more than the Goodpasture syndrome, you know. But thank you guys so much for all the support. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, guys. So much more is coming. I have so much more to share with you guys. So thank you so much.